On the 20th, I was in choir class when the shooting started. Mm-hmm. And so I barricaded in the teacher's office with 59 other students for 3 hours. I didn't go into professional trauma therapy for 20 years.
Really?
It took 20 years. I co-founded the Rebels Project with other Columbine 1999 graduates. And we founded it after the shooting at the Aurora Theater because we were like, we get it. And as a physically uninjured survivor, I felt like my experience wasn't good enough. Because I teach seniors, they know my story. Yeah. Like, it's very age appropriate for them to know that. And when I first told them my story, I told them that because I wanted them to take the lockdown drills seriously, because I didn't want to freak out on them for something that like wasn't their fault or that they didn't know about. And by sharing that, like opening those doors for like them to see me be vulnerable, they're in turn more comfortable being vulnerable with me, and then I can get them the support that they need.
Starting with the Columbine shooting, it has become much more the norm than not that our children are aware of the fact that it could happen, much less that it happens. And I think that has to compel us to understand what they are experiencing every day, even their fear that it might happen. Mm-hmm. And the fact that they're sitting in a classroom and some part of them is aware that this could happen at any minute. About it. Our administration got $1 billion to put therapists, mental health counselors in public schools. And we need to do a whole lot more, but it's a good beginning.
It's a step. At my high school where I teach now, we had a shooting where it was across the street, so it's not considered a school shooting. So it kind of brought back those feelings of like anger, and then it brought up the idea of like, this doesn't matter because it wasn't in a school and no one died, and so nobody cares, and like these kids like went back to school. We went back to school.
I'm glad you mentioned that because we rightly and understandably give a lot of attention to the mass shootings and school shootings for obvious reasons. And we have to acknowledge everyday gun violence and what that's doing to our children, to communities. We should not accept the fact that gun violence is the #1 cause of death of the children of America. Not car accidents, not cancer. It doesn't have to be this way. Right? There are things we can do about it, including addressing the effects of gun violence, such as trauma, and then the work that we need to do around smarter gun safety laws. Please take care of yourself.
Thank you very much for listening.
Of course. Thank you for what you're doing.